I was like, for fuck's sake, Todd, why have you done this again? God, you're such an idiot. Like, stop eating poo. And someone was like, oh my God, excuse me. And that was humiliating.
Wanted a selfie, just a quick selfie.
And I was like, not now. My dog's eating poo. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Welcome to Before the Lights. If you're new here, we're a team of health professionals based in London who train people from all over the creative world to get ready for TV, film, even live shows, but most importantly, for everyday life. I'm Dave Hasty.
I'm George Ashwell.
I'm Georgia Canavan.
And I'm Josh Betteridge.
We've been lucky enough to build a pretty special group of members here at the club, so we thought it would be nice for other people to get to know some of them as well as we do.
I was like, I think I need to start going to the gym. So I literally got out my laptop, and was like, PT's for actors.
Welcome to Before the Lights podcast, guys. I'm Greg James. With me over here is Dangerous Dave, and here is Evil George. And today we're talking grind set.
Grind set?
It's not about mindset, guys. It's about grind set.
It was the very first time I met you when you came in and you actually had to run off and be sick in the toilet.
You feel quite vulnerable when you're kind of lying on your back with your legs up in the air because you feel sick, just breathing. And I'm like, this never happens. I'm so sorry.
So sit back, only do some exercise if you want to, and maybe even learn something about how to look after yourself. Welcome back to Before the Lights podcast. Today it's myself and Georgia.
Hi.
Georgia, what have you been up to today?
Training.
Working and training. That's good. Good
I
to
don't know why
hear.
I'm whispering.
Yeah. Can you go any louder than that?
No.
Is that it? But you've actually just trained today's guest.
Yeah.
Lovely Ambika Mod.
And she was
Hi.
amazing.
How was
Stop
it? Yeah,
it.
let's have a full evaluation of the session, please.
Please, yeah, step by step.
We did some weights
Mm.
and we did some Pilates and we did a full body workout.
Yeah.
What would you
Um,
score, Ambika, in terms of performance, progress,
Attitude.
and most importantly, attitude?
Performance, 10 out of 10.
Wow, that's good.
Attitude. No, I'm only joking.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Room for improvement.
No, amazing. It was so much fun. It was good to have you back in the gym
Yeah.
with me. I know you've been
Yeah,
training
yeah.
yourself, but yeah, amazing. Really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
We normally start by having a little chat with our guests about sort of where the listeners might have seen you
Yeah.
or might have come across you. I think that for most people it'll have been it feels weird saying last year still about that, but like last year
Yeah.
it was One Day was such like a big kind of smash hit on
Yeah.
Netflix, wasn't it? And you played Emma Moly in that. And that wasn't actually how you ended up coming into the gym, was it?
No.
Because I think people would assume that it's like a lot of the time it's someone has a job, they'll get in touch with us and then
Yeah.
come in for that.
Yeah.
But you were just through a good old-fashioned Google search.
I
What?
feel like such
Like you almost
layman.
found out about us
Like,
by accident. in
yeah,
a way, didn't you?
it was like literally like summer of last year. I was like, I need to start going to the gym. So I literally got out my laptop, and was like, PT's for actors, and
I
like
just like that you even thought to Google that.
Yeah.
PT's for actors, like insane. Because like I know that actors have PTs.
Did you use the number 4 as well?
PT's for actors? Yeah, and then a Z at the end of actors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I was just like, I don't know how you find these people. I didn't really need it for a job. So I just Googled it, which is what I do when I type.
Yeah, nice.
And you guys came up. I don't know if you guys want to advertise this, that you're
Well, I was gonna-
findable on Google.
Well, I was going to make a joke about it being like that we'd spent loads of money on Google Analytics, which we haven't. Because our website, I think, basically George's boyfriend knows a
Yeah.
lot about that stuff.
Oh, I
And he's
see.
like, it's terrible for that. But it works.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
It
It
did,
works.
it did what it was meant
Yeah.
to do.
you
Well, I
found
found you guys, and I just got in touch, and then someone. I think
think
you
I
got
messaged
back.
you back.
You got back, and then George got back on a separate email.
Because it came into like... Because nobody ever gets in touch via our website. It comes into an
Insane.
inbox that
It's
nobody
like, I
looks
was
at.
literally like, "Hello, my name is Ambika. I'd like to inquire about your services."
That's that point of like when you're emailing someone that you've never met before and it all is very weirdly formal,
Yeah,
isn't it? All the language
literally.
that you use, you're like,
Yeah.
I would never say this, send. But yeah, it comes into this inbox that no one ever checks. So I remember looking at it being like, how long has that been in there?
Yeah,
Has
mad.
anyone else actually spoken to her? But we actually picked up on it quite quickly, I think. So we
and
got
then,
in touch.
but then someone was like, "Oh yeah, did this person tell you about? Did this person?" And I was like, all these people go here.
There was a
like,
moment when
hey-
you were like walking around and
Yeah.
like I think you like said hello to about 5 different people.
And I was like, you all go here? It was like such.
no one's
it
been
was-
telling you about it.
It was like a club, like a secret club no one had told me about.
Everyone's gatekeeping.
Yeah, but I'm really glad I found it. It's so nice here. It's really like a lovely community. Not to get all pithy and sentimental, but it's really nice to come in. But there is also that kind of thing of like, going to the gym for me is stressful anyway, but like when you go to the gym you're like, okay, who am I going to run into?
Yeah.
That's always a bit like stressful as well, but it's always fine when,
Do you
when you're
find that
actually in.
here? Because like now there is quite a lot of people that do know each other, but is it like
Yeah.
everyone knows each other in a way that I guess because here it's a very like low pressure
Yeah.
fitness
Yeah.
environment that it's just people just seem to have a nice time and chat to each other rather
No,
than
totally, but it's also like I get very embarrassed when I work out. So it's like doing that in front of people who I would definitely see again
yeah.
is like the pressure for me. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's what I feel. But like the socially, it's lovely.
Yeah. But yeah, your co-star in One Day,
Mm.
Leo, was
Yeah.
coming in, I think. But you guys didn't ever.
I've never run into him here.
Have you? You never
You
seen
come
it?
into
You've never
the
seen each other
times.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never run into him here.
Mhm.
But yes, I know that because when I first emailed, George was like, "Oh, I just been training with Leo. He
I think
must
we
have
just
told you about this place."
Yeah, I think we
I
assumed
was
that.
like, no
Yeah.
one ever told me about this place. It's the world's best kept secret. No, but it was, yeah.
Can I ask what sparked you looking for a gym or a trainer?
I just felt really tired all the time.
Okay.
But like, I'm tired all the time anyway. I think life is exhausting. I think we're all tired all the time. I think I'm getting to that age now. I had a conversation recently with someone who was like, "Oh, I just think you're getting to that age where you just get tired all the time," and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's really depressing." But sure.
What is the tipping point for that age?
He was like in his early 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, I think you're getting to that point now where it's like, okay, the
Get ready.
tiredness is coming and it's never going to leave.
That's it.
But I was like, I was just like, I think I need to start, because I do a lot of yoga at home on my own. But it just like I got to the point where it wasn't adding much to my body anymore. And so I was like, I think I need to get strong.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get strong, but I don't understand weights. I don't understand strength training. I don't understand. It's like a whole other science to me that I don't understand. So I was like, I think I need to go and
PT
just-
for actors.
PT for actors. PT for actors. And also, like, when you're an actor, like your body is literally your instrument.
Yeah.
I don't think I took that seriously for many years. Because like I didn't go to drama school. I sort of like became an actor accidentally. So like I was just sort of like going with the flow. And then I had like quite a full-on couple of years with really intense jobs and then like a lot of press and all this stuff, and it really took a toll on my body physically. And I was like, oh, okay, I really need to start looking after my body now
Yeah.
because like this is going to affect how I do my job.
And was that just because, like, when it took a toll on your body, is that just because of, like, the hours of type of food?
Totally. I mean, you're like on set, for example, especially if you're on a long job, so for a TV series, and you're every day, like, it's like 16-hour days.
Yeah, it's
You have
mad.
your first meal at like 6 a.m., then you'll be at home at like 8 a.m., and just like,
Yeah.
set is like you become a vacuum on set. You eat constantly. It's like a really unhealthy.
There is quite a lot on offer, isn't there, a lot of the time? I guess because there's loads of people, a lot of people maybe don't realise when you're in a TV show, I guess, in
Yeah.
particular, where it's like multiple days and it's going on for a long
Yeah.
time. You've got all the crew and the cast and the directors and all the rest of it. And there's a lot of people, so there is a lot of food available for all those
100%,
people.
Yeah.
But it's part of the human brain is like when it's there, it's hard
Yeah.
not to want to eat it all the time.
Totally.
Isn't
And
it?
especially as an actor, like you're waiting around a lot. Like the days can become quite sluggish.
Mhm.
So you're just like snacking constantly. Like catering is never particularly healthy.
Yeah.
You're not getting a lot of sleep.
Mhm.
So it's like it's not really a breeding ground for peak physical fitness. So I was like, I need to find a way to get strong and I've been on like a real journey in the last couple of years with my food, because my mum is like really into like Ayurvedic medicine.
Oh, amazing.
So like I've been the way I've eaten the last couple of years has like really transformed.
Did she sort of teach you about all that kind of stuff? Can you explain what
Yeah.
that is for people that don't?
So
don't know about
Ayurvedic
it?
medicine is basically like ancient Indian medicine, and a lot of like it's like tens of thousands of years old, and like a lot of like the pillars of it are like the basis of like so much health stuff that we know today. So for example, like the whole thing of like your gut is your second brain, that comes from Ayurvedic medicine. Everything is about treating your gut in Ayurveda, basically. And I was having like a lot of like problems with like bloating and like just my energy levels, and I basically just like completely like changed the way I started eating, because I grew up, obviously I'm Indian, so I grew up eating like Indian food like 3 or 4 times a week, which is super healthy.
Yum.
A lot of spices, a lot of veg, a lot of lentils, a lot of protein.
Variety, like the nutrient variety is massive compared to other cultures, isn't
I mean,
it?
vegetarian food
100%.
is just so much nicer than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, getting that, you know, like that 30 fruit and veg a week.
You're like easy peasy.
It was so easy.
Yeah.
And also like my mum was making it for me, like, and I moved out about 3 years ago, and I really took that for granted, and I really noticed how much worse my eating got, because I just wanted to eat bread and cheese all the time.
Was that when you went to like go to uni or something like that? Or was it...
yeah, I mean, uni was also not good, but also when you're at uni you're young.
Yeah.
So
you
like I
get
didn't
away with
notice
it.
it on my body as much.
You were approaching the
then-
tiredness age, and it started to
Yeah,
catch up with you.
totally. Yeah, when the inevitable tiredness age.
Yeah.
But like when I properly moved out I moved out for uni, but then I moved back after I graduated. But then I moved out properly like 3 years ago, and my eating just got so much worse. And then I was like, you know, that's when sort of my acting career sort of took off. So I was on set a lot, and it was just it was like a perfect
I
storm.
guess also it's like if you're back from uni, then you move out, then work kicks off. It's just a lot of life
changes
happening all at the
huge
same
life
time, and
changes.
then often it is like food and the things that would make your life a bit better are the things that get kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
'Cause everything
Yeah.
seems to be in such a rush,
100%.
doesn't it?
And also, like, if you've like grown up one way with like certain routines and rhythms, if your body is used to a certain food and then all of a sudden that changes,
Yeah.
like your body really does notice it.
Yeah. So did your mum then kind of like treat you in a way, I suppose? Was she like, these things are going to be things that would help with X, Y, and Z, and then show you how to make them or whatever?
Yeah, so she has like a lot of Ayurveda books. She tries a lot of stuff. My dad is like her guinea pig. And she buys me, I have like all the herbs. I have like,
This is amazing.
yeah, it is really, really good. I was just talking to Josh earlier about like shit and bowel movements and like keeping track of that, and like
It's so important.
it's so important. We like, guys, we need to talk about shit more.
Yeah.
Like it's such a
I'm
like,
actually really proud. I poop twice a day.
do you?
Yeah, morning and night,
Wow.
like clockwork.
But even when you're abroad and you're like eating changes.
Yeah, which I thought would like.
Yeah.
But nope.
Wow, you
She
must
knows
have a
she's
really
on a mission.
healthy digestive system.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Twice a day,
Oh my
guys.
god, that's so great.
I know.
And I was almost about to ask a really TMI question, but I won't.
Go on,
do.
tell me.
No, I'm gonna be like, and like, does it come out really easily?
I poop well.
There's about 20 minutes of straining per visit.
Got a really strong core.
Yeah. None of
That's
it's
why.
pleasant. None of it's pleasant. I was going to move into talking about not poo. Talk about this is going to hurt.
Oh yeah,
Which
sorry.
'cause
Yeah.
obviously we were kind of we were dancing around that
Yeah.
period of
Yes,
of your life in terms
yeah.
of when your career kicked
Yeah.
off and moving out. And I assume that was kind of around that period.
Yeah,
was
that
it?
was like I filmed. I moved out just as that came out.
Yeah.
So I was at home because he filmed that during lockdown. So I was at home when I was filming that. But yeah, it was basically around that time.
Studied a lot of poo samples
A lot
there,
of poo,
and-
yeah. A lot of. There was a lot of poo chat.
For anyone
but
that doesn't
yeah.
understand that reference point, Ambika plays. Are you like a junior doctor in that?
Yeah, junior doctor. But I'm sort of like lower down, and then like Ben Wishaw, who's the lead, and it plays a registrar, so he's like sort of my boss in it.
Did you have to actually like start to learn as much as you could about being?
They fully taught us. Like they taught us how to do cesarean.
No way.
They taught us how to do like a forceps.
When you
Oh my
did
God.
you go
Yeah.
into like where I went to uni? You're on a
Yeah.
campus, like a medical campus. My
Yeah.
background's in physio, and we had friends that were sort of nurses and radiographers and all these
Yeah.
different types of professions, and they would have like sort of model surgery units set up.
Yeah.
And we never had lectures in there, but you could walk past and look into it, and it's set up like an actual thing. Were you in like that kind of environment?
No, because it was lockdown, so we couldn't go anywhere. We
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
go into hospitals or do any of that, which was such a shame. But we they had 3 obs and gynae doctors who were basically like on rotation. One of them was on set every day.
Oh, really?
Every day. But before we started filming, they took me and Ben in for like a crash course, and over like a couple of days, like they fully taught us how to do like everything. So they had like a model. We like did cesareans together. They like taught us how to like stitch up.
That's
like
mad. Well, that was so interesting to learn all that
Yeah.
stuff. Though.
it was fascinating. Like, it was fascinating, and like we didn't actually need that level of knowledge.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
when it came to like filming those scenes, like it was very like
But I guess it's like anything. It's the more you know about it,
The more realistic.
yeah.
And I'd say most men are thoroughly underprepared for what's probably most people. Everybody
Yeah,
is, but like
totally.
it's unbelievably impressive to see what like the female body is capable of doing, and
Yeah.
just the intensity of the whole situation and the length that it can go on for, and the
Yeah.
amount of energy involved in it, and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff is absolutely mad.
I'm petrified.
Yeah,
I'm not
me
pregnant, but I'm
too.
still petrified.
Honestly, me too. Honestly, me
But would
too.
you back yourself if you had to do a C-section?
Yeah, I always say that like
Would
if I
you?
was like in the woods with a knife
You could
and
do
it
it.
needed to have, I think I could do it.
It's kind of a good skill.
Yeah.
If that's
I'm a
just
C-section
trying to
baby.
picture this ever happening.
I can't. I could get the baby out. I couldn't stitch them back up again, and that's the problem.
Should we? Would we have to ring Ben?
We'd have to we'd
Was
have
he-
to start with someone
he was
else.
better
Yeah,
at stitching.
he'd get him out. Yeah, he's probably on stage. Yeah.
What a weird walk in the woods this is. Just
yeah.
two of you and a
Literally, why
really
am I in
heavily
there?
pregnant woman.
And I've got a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
You need
but
to be ready
no,
for it.
it is terrifying, and
Oh,
I feel
God.
the exact same way. But there were like women, there were like some women on the crew who were like pregnant whilst doing it, like whilst we were shooting that, and I was like, "Are you not?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, it's fully giving me like the fear."
Oh, God.
Yeah, but it's real, guys. Like it's really real. Like it is amazing. Do you know obs and gynae doctors have the same level of PTSD as like army veterans?
Oh my God, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I definitely felt like there's having never been in any kind of war zone situation. It was kind
Yeah.
of like there was some sort of elevation of everything to that
Yeah.
point where it is like, I mean, it is life and death. So
Totally, it's life and
Yeah.
death.
that's
Yeah.
kind of the part of it that I probably
It's
hadn't
really
thought about
intense.
until now.
Yeah.
But that's what gives you that feeling of everybody has that feeling, and you just try.
Yeah.
Although I did get told by the nurses that they were like, "Why are you so calm?" And because I was like, "Well, what use am I?
Yeah,
if
how-
I'm just in the
Yeah.
way."
But that's very you, though.
But
You're very
apparently,
calm.
like that's just most
Yeah.
blokes will just be like, "Oh my god," like they're just like,
Panicky.
"Get out of the way."
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just sitting in a chair, just being like, "I don't know anything and can't offer
Yeah.
anything in this situation apart
Yeah.
from like, does Emily need some water?" That's all I'm useful for. But
Well
they were
done,
literally
Em.
like, "It's just a bit. It's weird. It's weird that you're just sort of there,
Yeah.
not panicking." I was like, "Well, I feel like I'd make your life a lot harder if I
How
was."
was your partner though? Was she like freaking out, or like was she quite
It
calm?
wasn't. Yeah,
as
it
well?
definitely wasn't like a pleasant experience. It went on. I
Right.
feel like maybe 3 days.
Was it
we were in
3
hospital.
days?
Oh wow,
I
that
think
feels quite
so.
long.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
It wasn't.
gosh.
It wasn't by any means a smooth
Yeah.
process.
This is
but
really
it was.
adding to my
Yeah,
terror.
not to put anybody off. Yeah.
Can't wait.
And my fully unqualified assessment of the whole thing is
Yeah.
worth nothing for most people. But in my world, it was a lot. It was 3.
Yeah.
I think it was about 3 days. The scariest bit for me, going completely off topic now, nothing to do with acting.
Yeah. No,
I
please.
left the hospital, so we have our newborn baby in the car, and it's
Yeah.
5 p.m. At St Thomas's. That's the one on the river, isn't it?
Yeah, on the
opposite,
bridge,
opposite
yeah.
Parliament,
Yeah.
which is next to the massive roundabout where the BFI is.
Yeah.
That big, massive roundabout. And to get
Yeah.
home, I had to like pull out of the car park there. I've never crashed a car ever.
Oh no.
I didn't. But
Oh.
within 3 minutes, I think I had like 3 close calls, and I was like, haven't slept long
Oh.
enough. There's so much pressure on this moment of
Yeah.
like navigate the giant roundabout, which at any time of day in London is just like a busy
Yeah.
place. And it was rush hour, and there's like van drivers going
Oh,
everywhere. I was just like,
God.
oh my god.
And you've got a newborn baby in the back.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
made it home unscathed, but that was like, I feel like all the times of nearly crashing were like all put
Oh
into
my
like
gosh.
about like like a 30-second stretch of
Yeah.
road, and we just about managed to get through.
Do you know what's depressing is that
What?
we're hitting the tired age without a toddler.
You're
Or a newborn.
You're hitting the what?
Tired age.
Oh, without children.
How is
yeah.
it, Dave? Are you alright?
I know, but that's a different kind of tired,
Next level.
which you just learn
Is it?
to. It becomes the norm, and then you're just like, yes. There are
Yeah.
the days where you wake up and you're like, feel amazing. That's the anomaly, Because it's,
Right.
yeah. So look forward to that.
Yeah, isn't it depressing to be tired without like
Without
guys-
that.
that
You
level
guys
of
don't-
meaning?
you guys
yeah.
don't know what
I get
tired
it.
is.
Alive,
Yeah, you haven't even been tired yet.
Okay, so has the exercise made you feel
Yeah.
more
Yeah, well,
less tired?
I did like I was in for like 2 or 3 PT sessions a week, like before I went off to film this film at the end of last year, and I was feeling great.
Mhm.
And I remember I went to film this film. I don't know how much I can say about.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much are you allowed to say? Because I can't remember all of what it was that you had told us little
Yeah.
bits before you went. I remember that you saying that the cast was quite a big.
It's a great
Mega
cast.
cast.
Yeah, it's like Chris Evans, Anya Taylor-Joy, Vincent Cassel, Salma Hayek, John Malkovich.
Which
like,
in
it's a
itself
stacked
is kind of like
cast.
a mad situation to be flying over there. Had you
Yeah.
met any of them?
No. Oh yes, I'd met all of them at that point. Yeah, because
Uh-huh.
we'd been in rehearsals and stuff.
'Cause there's quite a lot of like, I guess there's an element of pressure being the sort of new face stepping into that environment where
Yeah.
everyone else is super established.
Totally, and like really scary, but also like they're mega stars, right? And you're like, how do they conduct themselves at work? Like,
Yeah.
what do they do on set? Like, what do they eat? Like, are they really chatty, or like, do they go and like how do they live? Like, do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, that's what I found really like. How are they just as human beings?
Oh my god, I'm obsessed. That's so
It's
interesting.
it was so interesting. Like, I mean, I won't go into details, but like, it was just so fascinating. I mean, they were all lovely. I actually
Yeah.
never met John Malkovich. I didn't have any scenes with him, but I've heard great things. But they were all lovely, and like, it is just that thing of like, you are all at work, and you are all
Yeah.
when you like step on set, you are all colleagues and
Yeah.
peers, and like that's bizarre to me.
Yeah. Did you
That's
feel
bizarre.
like part of the training and exercise before going out there was almost like mental release to a certain extent? Because
Yeah.
you kind of like, you're getting ready to go and do a big job, and you're away for quite a long period, weren't you? Because you came in and then you were kind of gone for a big chunk.
Yeah, I mean, before I did this film, I hadn't stepped on set in a year.
Mhm.
So I hadn't because I just kind of wanted a bit of break, and also I was doing a lot of like, my life changed so much last year, so I was kind of like almost dreading the set lifestyle again. Like, I was actually just felt a bit like it felt a bit heavy, like the thought of like having to go on set and do the long days and all that. But I remember I felt great.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't struggle. Like, I obviously, like, it was physically demanding, but like I felt so agile, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
felt
yeah.
so like strong, and like I was like, there's no way in hell I would have felt like this 2
Yeah.
months ago.
You have to be ready to put your body through that.
Yeah.
Because if you just step into it,
Yeah.
it'd be a real shock to the system if you were just kind of like,
And also, like,
Yeah.
just feel empowered in that moment, like, with everything else that's going on. It's
Yeah.
probably quite a lot now.
Yeah, you always like, but also I think the tighter, like, the more in your body you get, the less you think about.
Yeah.
Okay, what is my face conveying? Because and that like that, I find that really useful.
yeah,
I feel like I act better when I'm tired.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I
helpful
less.
if
Yeah.
you're always tired.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
That's why. That's why
can't
things are
train
going so
too
well at
much.
the moment.
And you know, you said your sort of life changed last year. You were
Yeah.
talking about, and I was reading that you are a big fan of boundaries.
Yeah. Big
This is
fan.
something I'm learning, and I find it really
Yeah?
hard because I'm definitely like
In
a
what
people
way?
pleaser. I love my work, but I find it really hard to because our work is fun. I find it really hard to like switch off from it
Yeah,
because we
there
work
is
with
there is quite a lot of like interaction with a lot of people doing what
Yeah.
we do,
Yeah.
where like retaining little bits of information, but also kind of constant,
constant.
very little conversations that happen,
Yeah.
which I guess is quite unique to
yeah.
our line of
It's
work.
very social, like our job.
Yeah.
And I just love that you talk about boundaries and like what does that mean to you in like your realm of work? I know it's a huge question, but like
Yeah. No. It's. Yeah. It's really weird because I think when you're on TV or like you're a person of a certain profile or your work is like public for public consumption, there can be this like kind of implicit thing where people feel like they know you or they have access to you or they should have access to you, and I completely understand that mindset, but I think having been on the other side of it for like the last few years, what I've learned is that like, especially like as a young woman, like it can be quite it's really exposing,
Mm-hmm.
like being on the street and getting recognised and people coming up to you, and
that must have happened a hell of a lot with One Day coming out, because it was one of those shows that, and there aren't that many, are there, where they go onto Netflix or sort of any streaming platform, but just kind of keep on gathering more and more and more momentum.
Yeah.
It was crazy though, wasn't it? It was
It
like
was,
to the
yeah.
point where like it seemed like everybody had watched it and everybody was talking about it, and for a period of time it was kind of like the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Which must have been mad, because like,
which is only a thing that happens on Netflix.
Yeah, it's
by
so
the way,
true.
like it's like I remember seeing like what interview? Who was, I can't remember who I saw, whose interview I saw saying this, but it was just like there's no other platform where like after a day like it's dropped on every global platform around the world.
yeah.
Like, and that level of exposure is just completely unprecedented. Like, we've never had anything like that.
In that show in particular, because it's the two of you basically. There's obviously other characters involved, but the whole thing is about the two of you, and you're in every episode all the time. It must have been a mad experience just to kind of come to terms with that.
Yeah, 100%. I also think like the way, so I would get recognised a lot after This Is Gonna Hurt, but that was very different. I mean, that was on the BBC. Like, there was a lot of like sort of social intention, social awareness raised from that show. Like, it was about the NHS and the welfare of key workers and junior doctors, and so when people would recognise me on the street or come up to me, like they'd want to have a conversation, or like they worked in the NHS, and like we'd often have a chat, and I would rarely get asked for a photo. And then after One Day came out, it felt a bit more like, oh my God, can I have a picture? Oh my God, you're the girl from The Thing. Oh my God, I've seen you on TV. Oh my God, where have I seen you for? Oh my God, it's the girl from One Day. So it felt a bit more like celebrity. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
And that was a completely different vibe. And I think that's what I struggled with, because it's lovely having people coming up to you, having connected with your work. And I will say 90% of the interactions I have after One Day have been that, like people just loving the work and being really like moved by it and connecting to it. But then, you know, there are also people where it feels a bit more transactional. I think that's where I like put up my boundaries, because like you don't owe anyone anything. Like on my job as an actor, I've done my job. Like when I'm out on the street doing on the tube, whatever, like I don't owe anyone anything. And like I day by day I just follow how I feel. Like there are days where I don't feel like speaking to people, or like I don't want to take a photo, so I won't. But I'm still really struggling with that, because I'm such a people pleaser. So if I say no to a photo, or like if I feel like I've been really curt in a conversation, which has happened before, I leave and I think about it all day, and I feel so terrible, because I don't want people to think that I'm rude. I don't want people to dislike me. So that's still like something that I
think people forget
tackling.
Though, that when in your day, in terms of what's happening in your life, it's like if someone just sort of not barges into it, but like appears there all of a sudden, and everybody wants you to be happy and all the rest of it, but it's like everybody knows how it exactly. Like if you're having a shitty day, you can't, like, sometimes you don't want to talk to anyone, which is totally fine. No, but I guess 100%. You have to consider, like, how do I say that without seeming like a dick? 100%. Which is such a funny thing.
But I love that you've talked about that and discussed it, because I just think it's so important.
Totally, especially like as a woman. I think especially like as a young woman, I think, you know, you feel a lot more exposed and a lot more vulnerable than say like Leo might on the street. Like, so it's like
definitely
there are like definitely many layers to it, and I'm just, you know, trying to be more conscious of that. That being said, like most of the interactions I have are lovely, just, you know, by nature of the show, and I understand like it's a very sad story.
That show
people
made me
like
cry.
Yeah.
I'm
Fair
not
enough.
gonna lie. Even
fair
Will,
enough.
my boyfriend, he cried a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, it was great.
Honestly, like I was crying for the whole like first 3 months of filming it.
It was a lot of hydration.
It was just like, so no, I completely get this. People often come to you like, I think, wanting or expecting a bit of catharsis, which I completely get.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just part of the job that I'm navigating.
Yeah.
But it's complicated. Yeah.
Did you experience any kind of, not necessarily negativity, but anyone voicing opinions on, obviously, like within the book, in terms of your casting in that role? And it's been discussed that David Nichols wanted to rewrite the character
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff, and you were the actor that was chosen to play that character.
Mm.
But there would have been people with books. There's people that have opinions on how things should be, and we've had
Yeah.
loads of like
Yeah.
clients in the past that have had experiences.
Yeah.
And it never really occurred to me until I can't remember who. Someone previously had mentioned something. I was like, oh shit, like yeah, you have to deal with someone being annoyed that you're not what
Yeah.
they imagined that character looked like or whatever,
Course.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Did you have any of that, or was it all?
yeah, loads.
Yeah.
Oh, loads. Oh my
Which
God,
is such
so
a mad
much.
thing.
Yeah.
'cause
It's
it's
mad.
like
I mean, people are like, people are, not all people are. But you know, I think our industry, our society is still inherently like racist and misogynistic. And I think what was really interesting about the one day experience was, you know, I had a co-star who I was on par with, like in terms of the story. We're both like the co-leads. And so you just sort of, it was a really interesting marker for comparison to see like the way people spoke about him and his performance and his work versus
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
they spoke about me and mine. And so that was like really illuminating. It didn't tell me or show me anything I wasn't aware of already before. Like I come from comedy, like I'm aware that like of the discrepancies and like opportunities and whatever that, you know, between like a straight white man and women of color and all that. But I think it had never felt as stark to me as after one. Also because there's just so many people were watching it, so there were so many opinions, and again, like majority were positive, but it was a really it was like a really like it was a tough thing for me to like digest,
yeah,
especially in the first few months, because you always prepare yourself. I always knew that there'd be negative stuff, and I kind of prepare myself what people would say, but when people actually say it, that's a very different like ball game. So, and also like you say, like it's a really beloved book.
yeah.
It's like people have loved this book for like over 15 years, and like Anne Hathaway played her in the movie, so people have like a very specific idea of what a leading lady is, what like a romantic lead is, and you know, I don't fit that. I don't have, you know, there aren't many people who look like me on TV.
But it's great now that that's started to change, hasn't it? Because it's long overdue that there should be a wide variety of people playing different characters and different roles, and it is great that it's starting to change, and it must be great to be part of that as well, like having the chance to be.
And also, like, you know, people, I've got so much feedback after One Day came up from people being like, I've never seen just like a South Asian woman on TV, just being a South Asian woman, just being a woman. Like, she's not governed by her culture or her religion or the colour of her skin. Like, she's just a person.
It just shows
and that's
shows her
so
at that
rare.
period of her life going through
and
different career
it's
changes,
mad
all the rest
that,
of it.
like, for so many people, that's the first time that they've seen that on. Like,
It's
that's
so true, though.
mad.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, it's really mad that they've seen like a grounded, real character, just who happens to be brown.
Yeah.
And that's who is the lead.
Yeah, we did a very
in
good
life.
job of it.
Thanks.
Might I add.
It was
Thank
bloody
you.
great.
Thank
Very,
you.
very well done.
And I'm also very aware that you're from Leeds, Dave. So
I did.
Yeah.
We will talk about that. I've got to critique the accent now. I'm joking.
Please.
I was very happy
No.
with the way you
Okay.
portrayed my people.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I'll get a load of shit now because people will be like, "You've lost your accent."
You have not lost your accent.
I get accused
does
of that
come out.
quite a
Have
lot.
you?
Yeah, I get accused of that quite a lot. But I think it's there. It's
no,
subtle.
it's there. You can
It's
definitely
subtle.
tell that you're.
I do it well. I do it well, don't I? Yeah.
Can I ask how you got into comedy?
Yeah, uni. Yeah, there was like a sketch troupe at uni. I love comedy, like, forever. I've like always been a bit of a comedy nerd. I grew up watching sitcoms, but then at uni there was like a sketch troupe, and I remember my first term of uni, first year, I auditioned for every play because it had a really good theatre scene. Didn't get into any play, like literally I must have auditioned for like 20-30 plays. Didn't get into anything. And I was like, I'll just go along to this like comedy troupe audition. I wrote a bunch of stuff, went along, and I ended up getting in. And there was about 6 of us, and then I was in it throughout my 3 years there, and like completely changed my life. I did Fringe every year, and then when I graduated, I started doing stand-up around London and improv.
That's such
Oh my god.
that to me is the most terrifying
Yeah.
Yeah,
thing
everyone
to
says
think
that.
of
yeah.
doing.
That's why I said, oh my god, because I just couldn't.
But,
I
like,
think
I
I'm
can
funny
totally
in the
see,
game.
like-
Would you rather have a baby or
Comedy.
do stand-up?
It seems so exposed, like people that get up and do stand up.
Yeah.
Like the idea of it, I'm just like, geez, like you have to really back yourself.
I mean, people might disagree with me. I think out of the three, sketch, stand-up, and improv, stand-up is the easiest.
Okay.
What's the thing that you enjoy the most, or the thing that
Improv.
you? Yeah.
Improv, in my opinion, is the hardest because it's such a discipline. Like
Yeah.
it's such a skill. There's this like really famous improv teacher called Will Hines, in the States, and he says that you can't say that you're an improviser until you've been training in it for 2 years, because it's so. I mean, that's by far and away more exposing than stand-up.
Yeah.
Because you go out there
You
with
have no
nothing.
idea what's going to happen,
Yeah, that's
do you?
With
Wild.
literally nothing. And improv gets such a bad rap. Like, it's such a bad rap, especially in this country. Like, it's huge in the States.
When you're doing that, is it like you go in as a group? Because can you
Yeah.
improv on your own?
People do
Can
improv
you?
on their own. People do. And, like, it
When
can
does
go
it
really
become?
well.
If it's on your own. When is it that you're just a person talking?
Yeah, literally,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I completely get it. No, so you have different, like, formats. So you have different formats. So, like, in long-form improv, you have different formats of shows. And, like, structure. You might, like, know the vague structure of the show, but every show is, like, different. And then you have, like, yeah, you might have like a regular troupe that you're part of, or like the group might change. But like I've sort of known people from that community for a long time, so I sort of drop in and out.
Yeah.
And that's really nice.
That must be quite fun, because I imagine that's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll have a certain way that you would do something, and then your friends would do something a different way, and it's almost
and
like
everyone's different,
you know roughly what sphere it's going to be
Yeah.
in, and how you can play off what's going to come at you.
Totally.
It must be a really good like mental challenge.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like honestly, if you want to change your life, change like your mindset, change the way you interact in the world, go to improv. Like I tell everyone to go to improv.
Shall we do
like,
it? Shall we go
honestly,
down?
please do
Let's
it.
go.
Honestly, like it just it like
You
it
could
just,
be our teacher.
Oh God, no. No. Yeah, but it honestly is like it's such a freeing, incredible thing to learn, and like honestly, I think once you, I don't know.
I'd liken it something to, and again, might be completely wrong here, but like having a 3-year-old now,
Yeah.
the conversations you have with them, because you have no idea what they're going to say.
Yeah.
And some of it just makes no sense at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But in their head, they're like,
Yeah.
I've said that.
Yeah.
Deal with it. And you've got to like, you've got to like kind of figure out what's going on.
Oh my God, it's so true. So like in improv, you have this thing called the game, right? Like, so this is like a really well-known device. You have this thing called the game. So like the moment something like weird or shiny or strange happens in like quite a grounded scene, you have to follow that game and then build on that funny thing. And it's sort of like what you're saying with your kid. Like your kid, if everything that your kid is saying makes total sense to him in his head, but like from the outside, you're like, I don't know what do you say? Everything is completely incoherent. But that's sort of like following the game and having your
It is
having
very
your shiny
freeing, because when you
opinion.
like full on, like what was it that was happening? I got home from work the other day and then spent half an hour pretending to be a robot, following him around, and then he'd
Yeah.
hide, and then it's like you just don't expect that to be what's
Honestly.
happening.
But then the difference is doing it with adults.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Then,
And
but
doing
then
it
you're
in front
kind
of
of thinking
people.
about it so much
Totally.
more, because
Yeah.
you're like, everyone here is making a choice to behave this way.
Yeah.
Whereas when
Yeah.
it's a toddler, you're like, that's
It's just
normal.
happening.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, do it, guys. It's so amazing. I tell everyone to do it.
Can we go back to like talking about when you were, you sort of mentioned it or touched on it a little bit when you were starting out and going into the
Yeah.
improv stuff, and like feeling like you weren't knowing like 100% what you were doing and everything like that, and then going on to the set of the film. Are we allowed to say what it is, or we'll just call it the film?
It's called Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
It's out. I mean, it's not
Okay,
out,
great.
but like the announcement of it
The
is
name
out.
of
Yeah.
it's out. So going on set of
Yeah.
Sacrifice, did you feel like a moment at all of being like imposter syndrome type thing, where you're like
Yeah.
stepping into it and just being like, oh shit?
I feel that all the time. I think everyone does.
Yeah.
But also because I didn't go to drama school or anything. So I still think of myself as a comedian who just happens to be acting.
Yeah.
I mean, I love acting and I've always wanted to be an actor, but
Would you describe yourself as an actor yet?
Yeah, more so in like the last year. But it is still really weird for me. But I don't have like any foundations really. Like when I like start a new job or take on a new role, like I'm sort of like I don't really know how to start or like how to prep or like what I don't, and I'm like building routines and practices as I do more work. But
are there things that you'll try and do if you're a bit stuck on something? So we talked about in the past with loads of our guests that your world is quite unique in the sense of you can be like super busy, like you mentioned at the start of this podcast. You would sort of super long days, really intense, and then all of a sudden it'd be like boom, your day is empty and there's nothing, and then you've got to get yourself in a position where you're ready to go like back into that. Have you started to put things in like coming into the gym and that kind of stuff that are just little elements of your day that like that's what I do at this time on these days to give yourself the structure and the routine sort of thing?
I mean, I don't really have much. I have like quite a solid morning routine. So
What
I always
do you do?
Huh?
What do you do?
Well, I wake up.
It's important.
And it's a really key step. And I have a glass of warm water with aloe vera and lemon.
Ooh.
And
Does
then
this come from mum? Is this a mum tonic?
I don't know. Oh no, I started drinking aloe vera years ago because I was scared that I was like going bald. I was scared that I was losing my hair.
And that helps with hair.
Yeah, and aloe vera is meant to be really, really good for
What does it
hair.
taste like?
Well, it's just like I don't really know because I put it in water.
I'm imagining it's like
then you have
if
to
you were
put
to
lemon.
eat some after sun. That's what I'm.
Yeah, it's very. It's very. I don't actually know. It tastes like a plant.
pleasant.
Yeah.
It's a nice drink.
It's all right. You can't. Yeah, you wouldn't want to like drink it like an orange juice.
Okay. It's one. It's
Yeah.
It's part of the morning. You do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's good for you, I guess.
Mhm.
Good for your gut.
Your hair looks great.
Thank you. It's
So
quite
it's
greasy
working.
right now.
Well,
Shiny.
after
I would say
workout.
like healthy, shiny.
Okay, good. Thank you. And then I will do about 10-20 minutes of yoga or just like stretching.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will go in the shower, then I'll meditate for like half an hour. Well, I'll try. Or I'll just sit there and think of terrible thoughts. And then I'll get on with my day, whatever. But that's the thing is that when you're not working,
You have the freedom to do
Yeah,
that.
you
so
can chill.
there's
I was gonna
like
say that
there's
sounds
no
like a dreamy
routine.
start to the day.
It is. Yeah, I've been doing it for so long now that I'm sort of like maybe I should change it up
If it
because
works.
it's sort of like on autopilot.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair.
you're just like going through
Yeah.
the motions.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to meditate?
I started doing it about 3 years ago. I'm a stressy girl. I'm stressy. I stress a lot about everything all the time. And then I think my therapist said to me, "Oh, make room for free up 20 minutes every day for meditation, except for when you're really busy. Then free up half an hour."
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And in what form do you do it? You're just sort of thinking about things.
So
or-
sometimes I'll just sit there and close my eyes and focus on my breathing. Other times, like I'll do like chanting.
Mhm.
Basically that really.
Amazing.
I try to do the thing where like try to keep my eyes closed for the whole time and just like have the discipline of just like I will not open my eyes.
Yeah.
Because even in my
Yeah.
thought wanders, at least I'm like there's a discipline
Even
of
that,
like
it's so hard to do. I've done like yoga classes, like the yoga nidra, where there's
Yeah.
elements of like, and the impulse to just open my eyes and look at what other people do.
Yeah.
Has
I know.
everyone else got their eyes closed? And
100%.
I'm like, don't fucking do it. And then inevitably I'll be like, oh. Like, I don't think I've
everyone's-
ever made it through without having a little peek.
No, I know, and I think that's part of the discipline of it.
Yeah.
And like I'm still like not even like that good at it, but
It's so hard.
it's really hard.
Yeah.
It sounds quite like basic, and like me saying that out loud that I haven't even got past the bit of just having my eyes closed.
Yeah,
But
but
it is so difficult.
intrusive
I
thoughts.
think
come out.
I think we're so like overstimulated these days,
Mm.
and I'm like you. I'm like I want to know what everyone's doing. Like I could happily just sit and just watch people
Mhm.
Yeah.
be for like hours on end.
Yeah. I like to do it. I don't know if this class is as meditation at all, but on the commute,
Yeah.
I'll have days where I won't like listen to anything or won't get my phone out or whatever,
Wow.
and I'll just stand and like I'll try not to even like look at what other people are doing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, can you just be in the train?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just happen to be there, rather than be like, what's happening there? What's happening there? And it's so hard to do, but it's like I feel different when I've done it.
Yeah.
And I think I did it as an experiment of like, I just noticed everybody is literally like, there's noise and there's something on the screen and they're just so in this like little bubble.
Yeah.
And I started trying it out, and like between like cycling from the train station to here and doing that, you can get like an hour of like deliberate non-exposure to stuff. But I don't know if it counts as meditation.
I think it does.
I think it does.
In a way.
It's being present.
just about-
I've like
yeah, exactly.
accidentally
Yeah.
meditated.
Huh?
I think I've accidentally
Yeah,
meditated.
Yeah, that's
very
really
you.
good,
This
'cause
is
it's
very
about
on brand.
being present. Yeah.
I'm just a simple man
Just,
who couldn't be bothered to get his
who
phone
can't-
out and
who
went,
can't read.
oh,
Yeah.
I feel nice. Yeah, don't like reading.
I do a lot of walking meditation when I'm on the tube because I find it really
You
overstimulating.
walk on the tube.
No, like I'll put a walking meditation on my head.
Oh
like,
right, I thought you meant like walking, trying to walk.
Can you
I was like,
imagine?
people would be so scared of you if you're just pacing up and down the carriage.
No, I do the complete opposite. I just sit and just listen, and it really helps me.
Wait, but the meditation is for walking.
Yeah.
But you just do it sitting down.
Well, I'm like walking to the tube and then swap and like.
I see.
But it's like
yeah.
someone talking to
Oh,
me.
that's
Like
smart.
a guided meditation.
Guided. I only do guided
Yeah.
meditations personally, but yeah, I do it morning and night, and it's a huge part. It's only
should try
short.
That. Yeah.
I do like 10 minutes or 20 minutes a day.
Do you use Mind? Is that the what app do you
Open.
use? Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
used lots of them though,
Yeah.
and I have beads as well.
Oh yeah. Same.
Meditation
yeah,
like
beads.
Meditating
I
beads,
love
yeah.
them.
What's that?
Well, I chant,
Yeah.
and each chant I move the bead, and then you can do like loops.
Like a prayer bead.
Yeah, it's actually prayer beads, the ones I
So
use.
I guess it's the same thing, isn't it?
What chants do you do?
Different ones.
Yeah.
I
Football
learned
chants,
to
mostly.
meditate.
And she screams.
Super calm. Feel great.
Just whilst on the tube.
Walking up and down. I learned to meditate in India.
No way.
Yeah, my best friend's Indian, and we went there together, and I spent a month there. And I've never had. The first time I ever learned to meditate, this guy who doesn't speak English, we were like cross-legged on the floor, and his knees were touching my knees, and he just put the top of his knuckles on my knee, and this energy, I know it sounds mental, but was like vibrating. I've never done anything like that before, and he taught me like this chant and with the
my
beads
gosh.
like after a while, and it was amazing, but never quite had a good experience as that
Yeah.
since. But he taught me how to meditate, and so I've learned like that
Does
basically.
it have 108 beads?
108 beads, yeah.
So is that
Yeah.
what's the thing with that then?
Well, that's so I do that as well, and it's from Hinduism.
Yeah.
So I was raised Hindu, but it's called a mala, and it's like it has 108 beads, and each bead. So Lord Krishna lived to 108, so it's like every bead is like a year of his life. So a lot of people mainly chant like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, which is what I chant sometimes. But you can chant anything as you go around, because it's 108 times, and it takes about 10 minutes.
I really like the action of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it really puts me
And
into
it's like
meditation.
kind of like a necklace.
Yeah.
with
Yeah, like a
beads, and you
necklace.
pull the bead through,
Yeah.
and that's
You just
one.
feed
Yeah,
it
just-
through your fingers. Yeah.
And is there a rhythm to it, or it's more just
Just
like
with whatever you're
go?
saying.
Cool.
Yeah.
I might try that. I like
Okay,
the
so
sound
I'll
of
bring
it.
some beats
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
come and sit in here
in silence.
in silence,
Yeah.
staring into the
Yeah.
corner.
Just Dave again.
I'll just add it into my like weird train staring. My 20 minutes of not doing anything and
But you
trying to think
can,
about
like,
nothing.
Yeah.
You can like just walk around and do it. Like, that's what a lot of Hare Krishnas do.
Yeah.
They just walk
Have
around
you seen the
and
Hare
do it.
Krishnas walk up and down
Yeah,
Oxford Street?
yeah.
I saw him yesterday.
Because they have the Govinda the Govinda,
temple.
yeah.
Where
restaurant.
my dad is from in Ireland,
Yeah.
so he's got a house there, and there's a Hare Krishna island in
Is
the
there?
middle of the loch.
Is there?
Yeah, it's mad. So
I
you can
wanna
go
go.
along on the boat, and you can't it's covered in trees, and you can just see a little gap, and there's these like buildings in there. I'm really intrigued by it. I don't know if I'm allowed to just like take the boat and like stop and get off. I assume so.
I
I imagine
imagine
they're
so.
all.
Why not?
I would have
Yeah.
thought they're very friendly.
I think they'd
but it's
probably
such a
welcome
weird
you.
thing to see on a loch in Ireland.
Yeah.
You're just going up this like stretch of water, and you're like, what the
The
fuck?
whole thing is theirs.
Yeah, I think they own the little island. It's not a massive island. It's big
Okay.
enough. There's like 4 or 5 buildings on it, and then it's surrounded by. If you Google it, but like Hare Krishna Island.
Yeah.
That's
in
cool.
Ireland.
Do they have lots of cows and stuff?
I don't know. There are a lot of cows around
Yeah.
that. That part of Ireland
Yeah.
is just lakes and cows.
That would make
But I don't know if
sense.
there's any
Yeah.
cows on their particular
Okay.
island. Maybe I'll go do some research and we'll catch up in a
Yeah,
year.
please let me know.
I'll go on there.
Yeah.
I'll meditate there. I'll get
Yeah.
myself some beads.
There you go.
And then we'll do a second pod.
We'll
gonna
check
hold you
in.
to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. We've both got big
Yeah.
jobs to achieve. Like so you've got to put on an improv night, and I've got to break off the island.
We've all got homework.
Before we come up to the kind of the end, can we go towards our section called Humbled
Oh my
in
god, I haven't thought of anything.
Hollywood? I'll explain it for people
Okay.
whilst you're thinking. So it's
Okay.
basically a moment in which
No pressure.
you've had maybe an embarrassing situation or a moment where you've been slightly humbled, because I think often people that listen to this or that sort of watch the shows that
Yeah.
you've done kind of assume that the lifestyles involved in that world are just all kind of like shiny and
Yeah.
perfect and everyone's having a great time
Yeah.
all the time. But there are obviously moments of like, it's normal life, it's real life
Yeah.
that happen.
I just thought of a story, but it's about poo again.
My
Again.
favourite topic.
It's
Oh my
about
God,
poo
again.
It's a really short story. I once got recognised when I was wiping shit off my dog's face because he decided to eat a bunch of shit in the park.
Were you
and-
crouched down and someone's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's you off the
and
thing?
I was berating. I was like, for fuck's sake, Todd, why have you done this again? You're just such an idiot. Like, stop eating poo. And someone was like, oh my God, excuse me. And that was humiliating.
Wanted a selfie,
Yeah.
just a quick selfie.
And I was like, not now. My
Yeah.
dog's eating poo. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
good.
So
Love poo chat.
that's the story.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It is a very good one.
Yeah.
I think it's the first. Well, we've had people say that one story was about someone shouting, "I've shit myself," but this is the first one that's actually about real
Real poo. There was
Yeah.
real poo involved.
There we
Thankfully, not human poo or my poo.
Yeah,
Just dog poo.
That would be worse.
Yeah, that would be
That
worse.
would be worse. That's the
That'd
kind of
be
story you want to
really
keep to yourself.
Yeah. Maybe for the next podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Version 2's got. We've
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
lot to fit into to podcast 2.
It's true.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very, very much for doing this. Thank
No,
you
thanks
for
for
coming on the
having
show.
me.
It's been great fun.
I love it in here. It's so nice. I don't want to
Yeah.
leave.
We'll
I
spend the rest of the
know.
day in here.
Just
We'll
reading.
You know
stop
when the
recording.
apocalypse comes, you guys should come in here,
Yeah.
right?
100%. There's a fridge as well.
Yeah, we need to stock up on
Fucking
food.
hell.
And that'll be it.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can get through all these books.